Welcome to Seeing Art History. This video examines the perplexing and yet purposeful absence of narrative in Caspar David Friedrich's painting, Monk by the Sea. We consider how the significance of this work might not only be in what it depicts, but also in how it encourages us to see. As you study this work, please like this video and subscribe to Seeing Art History. Monk by the Sea is one of the most famous works of 19th century art, and yet there is little consensus about what it depicts. In fact, scholars frequently discuss what is unseen in this work. They use words such as the void, silence, or nothingness to describe a painting that is seemingly without a discernible narrative. Let's briefly inventory some of the painting's motifs. A figure stands alone on a narrow beach. Friedrich's painting gets the title by which we know it because this man appears to be wearing a monk's robe. But we should note that Friedrich never titled his painting or identified the figure as a monk. Before this solitary monk is an endless sea. Above him, the sky opens from overcast to brightness. Some waves and birds interrupt an otherwise immeasurable expanse of nature. Monk by the Sea is a visually mesmerizing atmospheric painting, but its place in art history is secured by what it doesn't depict. At around 3.5 by 5.5 feet, Monk by the Sea is a large painting. It was unprecedented in European art for a painting of that size to be so devoid of narrative drama. Some scholars have gone so far as calling this the first modernist painting. Friedrich had initially painted 3 ships on the stormy sea. However, in one of the inflective moments in the history of the visual arts, he decided to paint out the boats. This repealed both narrative content as well as motifs that might establish pictorial distance. The result is an immeasurable expanse of water that transitions into the infinite realm of heaven. By eliminating key narrative elements, Friedrich encourages us to reconsider how we should look at and think about his painting. This was a strategic creative act on Friedrich's part to reorient our focus from looking at the monk to imagining what he is seeing. The monk is turned away from us and looking toward the horizon. As an unbroken line that cuts through the composition from one side of the painting to the other, the horizon is one of the picture's most significant points of focus. However, because the horizon is simply the limit of what we can see, it is an enigmatic motif. The horizon is a conceptual boundary of sorts. Crossing it, our engagement with this painting transitions from looking at the landscape to imagining what is beyond it, what is invisible to even the most observant eye. The horizon is also a spiritual boundary. The monk stands at the edge of the land, perhaps even the edge of the world. This figure has been interpreted as the artist standing at the edge between what can be known with the senses or comprehended with the mind and what can only be spiritually intuited. Caspar David Friedrich's Monk by the Sea does not depict any discernible narrative. Nevertheless, his painting is an instrument of instruction. It guides the viewer through a process of seeing from observation to imagination. This painting not only takes us to the limit of what can be observed with the eye, it also visualizes the beginning of what can be seen with the soul.